Let me ask you something. If you are a man between 35 and 45, are you actually building wealth or just looking wealthy? Because this decade is where most men either lock in financial freedom or quietly fall into traps that keep them stuck for life. And the worst part, nobody warns you about these traps. Today, I'm going to expose the biggest financial mistakes men make in their midlife years and how you can avoid them before they cost you millions. Between 35 and 45, your income is usually at its peak. Your responsibilities are at their highest. Family, lifestyle, status, and pressure are all pulling you in different directions. This is the most dangerous financial decade of a man's life, not because you earn less, but because your decisions get bigger, your risks get higher, and your mistakes become extremely expensive. Let's break down the biggest financial traps men fall into during this phase of life. When men reach their late 30s and early 40s, their income often hits a level they never imagined in their 20s. Promotions, business growth, and experience finally start paying off. The problem is not that they earn more. The problem is that their lifestyle grows even faster. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most silent and destructive financial traps in midlife. At this stage, many men feel they deserve a bigger house, a better car, premium gadgets, and expensive vacations. After years of hard work, it feels justified. Friends and colleagues are upgrading, social media is full of luxury, and there is a subtle pressure to prove success. Slowly, spending becomes the new normal. What once felt like a luxury becomes a necessity. A car payment, a mortgage, private schooling, subscriptions, dining out, and luxury habits stack up until most of the income is already committed before it even hits the bank account. The dangerous part is that lifestyle inflation is rarely noticed. A man still feels rich because he earns a lot, but in reality he owns very little. His money flows out to banks, brands, and service providers. He becomes trapped in a cycle where he must keep earning at the same or higher level just to maintain the lifestyle. If income drops, business slows down, or health issues arise, the lifestyle collapses fast and stress skyrockets. Another issue is that lifestyle inflation delays wealth building. Money that could have been invested in assets like stocks, real estate, or businesses gets consumed by depreciating items. A luxury car loses value every year, but an investment portfolio compounds. The man who controls his lifestyle can invest aggressively and reach financial freedom much earlier. The man who inflates his lifestyle may work until his 60s or 70s despite earning a high salary in his prime years. Lifestyle inflation also creates emotional pressure. Once you raise your standard of living, it becomes hard to go back. Downgrading feels like failure, even if it is financially smart. This psychological trap keeps many men stuck in jobs they hate, businesses they should have exited, or risky ventures they cannot afford to fail. The real danger is not enjoying life. The danger is letting lifestyle dictate your financial future. True financial maturity in this decade is not about how much you can spend, but how much you can keep and grow. The men who win financially are not the ones with the flashiest lifestyle at 40, but the ones who quietly built assets while others were busy upgrading their image. In this decade, every lifestyle decision compounds, just like investments do. A controlled lifestyle compounds into freedom, peace, and choices. An inflated lifestyle compounds into stress, dependency, and endless work. For many men between 35 and 45, money is no longer just about comfort or security. It becomes a symbol of identity. Success is measured by what people can see: the car in the driveway, the watch on the wrist, the restaurant choices, the vacations posted online. This is where the status spending trap quietly takes over. Status spending is when you buy things primarily to impress others or to signal success. It often starts subtly. A better car because clients might judge you. A luxury watch because peers in your circle wear one. A high-end home because you want to look established. None of these purchases feel reckless on their own. They feel like part of being a successful man. But together, they can quietly drain massive amounts of money that could have built real wealth. The pressure is social and psychological. Men are wired to compete, and modern culture amplifies that competition through social media and professional environments. You see peers upgrading their lifestyle and feel an internal push to keep up. You worry that looking less successful might affect your respect, relationships, or opportunities. So you spend to maintain an image, even when that image costs more than you can comfortably afford. The irony is that true wealthy individuals often do the opposite. They understand that status symbols depreciate while assets appreciate. A luxury car can cost hundreds of thousands over its lifetime, while that same money invested could generate passive income for decades. A designer wardrobe may impress for a moment, but a strong investment portfolio quietly builds power, options, and security. Status spending also locks men into high-pressure financial commitments. Large mortgages in prestige neighborhoods, expensive leases, and luxury habits create fixed costs that demand continuous high income. This reduces flexibility. You may avoid career changes, business risks, or time with family because the lifestyle requires constant cash flow. You become a prisoner of the image you built. There is also a hidden emotional cost. When self-worth becomes tied to possessions, satisfaction becomes fragile. There is always someone richer, a newer model, a bigger house. The finish line keeps moving and contentment stays out of reach. Instead of using money as a tool, money becomes a scoreboard that never stops updating. Status spending is especially dangerous in mid-life because it coincides with peak earning years. The money burned on image during this decade could have been the foundation of financial independence. It could have funded investments, businesses, or early retirement. Instead, it often funds applause, validation, and fleeting admiration. Real financial confidence is quiet. It is not about proving success to others. It is about knowing you are secure, resilient, and in control. The men who avoid the status spending trap often look ordinary on the surface, but behind the scenes, they are building something far more powerful than any luxury symbol: financial freedom. Between 35 and 45, many men feel financially unstoppable. Their careers are stable, their income is high, and their experience gives them confidence. This is where overconfidence in career income becomes a serious financial trap. The belief that, "I earn a lot now, so I'll always be fine," can quietly destroy long-term wealth. A strong salary creates a sense of security. Bills are paid easily, lifestyle is comfortable, and there is leftover money. This comfort can make investing, saving, and planning feel less urgent. Men tell themselves they will start investing seriously later, once they earn even more. They assume promotions will continue, businesses will keep growing, and the economy will stay favorable. But careers are fragile. Industries change, companies restructure, health issues happen, and economic downturns hit without warning. The biggest problem is that career income depends on time and effort. If you stop working, the income stops. Yet many men treat their salary like a permanent asset rather than a temporary stream. They build their lifestyle and commitments around current income levels, assuming nothing will change. When something does change, the shock can be devastating. History is full of highly paid professionals who lost everything because they relied solely on their careers. Doctors, executives, athletes, entrepreneurs. High income did not protect them when their careers slowed or ended. Without investments and diversified income streams, they were forced to start over at an age when rebuilding is much harder. Overconfidence also leads to risky decisions. Men may delay investing because they believe their business or career is the best investment. They may keep all their wealth tied to one company, one industry, or one skill set. This creates concentration risk. When that single source weakens, their entire financial life is affected. Another hidden danger is time. The 35 to 45 decade is a powerful investing window because of compounding. Money invested during this period has decades to grow. When men postpone investing due to confidence in their income, they lose the most valuable years of compounding. Starting at 50 instead of 35 can cost millions in future wealth, even with the same contributions. There is also a psychological trap. High earners often believe they are financially smarter than average because they earn more. Income and financial intelligence are not the same. Many men with impressive salaries make basic financial mistakes because they never learned how money actually works. Confidence without knowledge is expensive. True financial strength is not about how much you earn. It is about how much of that income you convert into assets that work for you. Career income is a tool, not the end goal. The smart move in this decade is to treat your salary like fuel for building investments, businesses, and passive income streams. When you separate your identity from your job and your security from your salary, you gain real power. Your career becomes optional instead of mandatory. Overconfidence in career income keeps men trapped in a single lane. Strategic use of career income opens multiple paths to freedom. In mid-life, debt often looks normal, strategic, and even smart. Mortgages, car loans, business credit lines and credit cards become part of daily life. The problem is not debt itself. The problem is how easily bad debt hides behind the label of necessary or smart, and how quickly it can turn into a financial trap that controls your future. Between 35 and 45, many men feel confident taking on large financial obligations. Banks are willing to lend more, income is higher, and credit scores are strong. A bigger house feels like an investment. A new car feels like a reward. Business loans feel like growth. Credit cards feel convenient. Over time, these debts stack up and monthly payments become a fixed part of life. What once felt manageable slowly turns into a heavy financial weight. Bad debt is debt that does not generate income and loses value over time. Luxury cars, consumer gadgets, high-interest credit cards, and lifestyle upgrades are classic examples. These purchases feel good in the moment, but do nothing to build wealth. Instead, they transfer future income to banks and lenders. You are essentially working today to pay for yesterday's decisions. The danger of debt in this decade is leverage without control. When everything is going well, debt feels harmless. When income drops, business slows, or unexpected expenses hit, debt becomes suffocating. Payments do not stop just because life gets complicated. Stress increases, options shrink, and financial flexibility disappears. Men who once felt powerful and successful can suddenly feel trapped and anxious. Another issue is that debt reduces investing capacity. Every dollar going to interest is a dollar not invested. Compound interest works against you with debt, and for you with investments. High-interest consumer debt is especially destructive because it compounds in the wrong direction, quietly eroding your net worth every month. Debt also affects decision-making. When fixed payments are high, men become risk-averse in the wrong ways. They may avoid starting a business, changing careers, or taking time off because the financial commitments are too heavy. Freedom decreases as obligations increase. Instead of money working for you, you work for money and for lenders. There is also a psychological normalization of debt. Society often frames large loans as milestones of success. A big mortgage, a luxury car lease, and multiple credit cards can be seen as signs of achievement. In reality, they often signal that wealth is being consumed instead of built. True financial progress is measured by assets and net worth, not by how much you owe. The mid-life decade is critical because debt decisions here shape the rest of your financial journey. A manageable mortgage on an appreciating asset can be strategic. Excessive consumer debt, however, locks you into decades of payments with little to show for it. The difference between strategic and destructive debt is often discipline, purpose, and understanding. Debt can be a powerful tool or a silent destroyer. Most men fall into the bad debt trap not because they are reckless, but because they underestimate its long-term impact. In this decade, every borrowing decision echoes for years. Controlling debt is not about deprivation. It is about preserving your future freedom, flexibility, and peace of mind. Between 35 and 45, many men are busy. Careers peak, businesses demand attention, families need time, and responsibilities multiply. In the middle of all this, long-term investing often gets pushed to the background. It feels boring, slow, and less exciting than business deals, trading, or lifestyle upgrades. This neglect becomes one of the most expensive financial mistakes of midlife. Long-term investing is not flashy. It does not give instant gratification. You do not get applause for contributing to an index fund, a retirement account, or a diversified portfolio. There are no dramatic stories to tell at dinner parties. Because of that, many men underestimate its power and delay it, assuming they will start seriously later. But later is the enemy of compounding. Compounding is time's way of rewarding patience. Money invested in your late 30s has decades to grow. Even small, consistent contributions can turn into massive wealth by retirement age. When men skip these years, they lose the most valuable ingredient in investing: time. Starting at 50 instead of 35 means your money has half the time to grow, and no strategy can fully compensate for that lost time. Many men also chase short-term gains instead of long-term stability. They jump into trading, speculative investments, or risky ventures hoping for quick wins. While some succeed, most underestimate risk and overestimate skill. Short-term strategies require constant attention, emotional control, and expertise. Long-term investing, on the other hand, rewards discipline and consistency. It quietly builds wealth in the background while you focus on your life and career. Another issue is complexity paralysis. Investing can seem complicated with stocks, bonds, real estate, funds, taxes, and strategies. Men with high incomes sometimes delay investing because they want the perfect plan. They research endlessly, wait for the right time, and end up doing nothing. In reality, a simple, consistent approach started early often outperforms a complex plan started late. Neglecting long-term investing also increases dependence on active income. Without a growing investment portfolio, retirement becomes uncertain, and financial independence remains a distant dream. Men may reach their 50s and realize they built a great career, but no financial engine outside of it. That realization can be stressful and demoralizing, especially when energy and risk tolerance are lower than in younger years. There is also a mindset issue. Some men believe investing is only for the rich or for later in life. Others think their business or real estate is enough. While businesses and property can be great assets, they are often illiquid and concentrated. A diversified long-term portfolio provides stability, liquidity, and risk management. It acts as a financial backbone that supports everything else. Long-term investing is not about getting rich overnight. It is about building a system that works while you sleep, while you work, and while you live. The men who respect long-term investing in their mid-life years often create a future where money is not a daily worry. The men who neglect it often discover too late that no amount of past him can replace lost compounding time. Between 35 and 45, many men are moving fast. Careers, businesses, family responsibilities, and social expectations create constant motion. In this rush, most men never pause to define a clear financial plan or long-term vision. They earn, spend, invest a little here and there, and react to opportunities and problems as they appear. This reactive approach becomes a powerful financial trap. A financial plan is not just a budget or a savings goal. It is a roadmap that connects your income, investments, lifestyle, and future goals into one coherent strategy. Without it, money decisions become emotional and scattered. You might invest in something because a friend recommended it, buy property because it feels like the next step, or start a business because it sounds exciting. None of these decisions are necessarily wrong, but without a plan, they are disconnected and often inefficient. The lack of vision creates drift. Men with strong careers can drift financially for decades. They may earn millions over a lifetime but fail to build significant net worth because their money had no direction. Expenses expand, investments are inconsistent, and opportunities are missed. Wealth is not just about how much you earn, but how intentionally you deploy that income over time. Another danger is conflicting goals. Without clarity, men try to maximize everything at once: lifestyle, security, growth, and freedom. They buy expensive assets while also trying to save aggressively, start risky ventures while needing stability, and plan for early retirement without reducing spending. These contradictions create stress and slow progress. A clear financial vision forces trade-offs and priorities, which are uncomfortable but necessary. A missing plan also affects family and legacy. Midlife is when responsibilities to children, partners, and aging parents increase. Without a structured approach, decisions about education, housing, insurance, and inheritance become reactive and emotional. This can lead to financial strain, family conflict, or missed opportunities to build generational wealth. There is also a behavioral trap. Humans tend to optimize for the present. Without a written plan and long-term vision, short-term desires dominate. It becomes easy to justify big purchases, delay investing, or ignore risks. A plan acts as a personal contract with your future self. It makes long-term consequences visible and harder to ignore. Many men avoid planning because it feels restrictive or complex. In reality, a good financial plan creates freedom. It gives you confidence to spend, invest, and take risks because you understand the boundaries. It turns money from a source of anxiety into a tool that supports your life goals. The most successful men financially are rarely the highest earners. They are the most intentional. They know where they are going, why they are going there, and how their money will get them there. Without a financial plan and vision, even the smartest and hardest working men can end up rich in income but poor in wealth, choices, and peace of mind. Let me leave you with this. Between 35 and 45, you are not just earning money. You are locking in your financial destiny. The decisions you make in this decade will echo for the rest of your life. Most men never realize they are in financial traps until it is too late. They think they have time, they think their income will save them, and they think things will work out on their own. They rarely do. Wealth is not built by accident. It is built by awareness, discipline, and intentional choices made when you are at your peak earning power. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be deliberate. Control your lifestyle, ignore status pressure, invest consistently, manage debt wisely, and design a clear financial plan. Do this and your 40s will not be a financial trap. They will be the launchpad to freedom.